evening and welcome to the MCG Round 5 commencing on this Friday night. It's Melbourne against Brisbane. Melbourne in great form this year. They've won 3 out of 3. They've had big wins too over Geelong, Hawthorn and then Essendon. But a couple of changes tonight Jared Healy will talk to you about in a few moments' time. And for Brisbane, they've played 4 matches so far. They're 2-2. And last week they had an excellent victory at the Gabba against St Kilda. Well, it's a very special weekend for their captain, Roger Merritt, who's playing his 264th game tonight. He's gone from the hitman of the AFL to a hero. He is the leader the Brisbane craved. He played in 2 premierships at Essendon. He's been an inspiring leader for the Brisbane Bears.
But Merritt, and the big fella doesn't let him down his mark. Oh, he's playing well, big Roger Merritt. Merritt at the back. Oh, had his name written all over that. Roger Merritt, gee, read that well.
Roger Merritt's testimonial this weekend and tomorrow night. Jared Healy, welcome to the program and to the MCG. The big news from Melbourne's point of view, it's all bad.
Well, it is all bad. Gary Lyon, Stephen Tingay, both State of Origin players and perhaps Melbourne's best 2 players of the season, both missing tonight. So you wouldn't want to have had your money on Melbourne. I think this is a big danger game for the Demons, who have been in good form, but so too are the Brisbane Bears. There's the side. Jim Stynes, well, he struggled a bit last time they played against Matthew Clark. Alan Jakovich has been in form, although his goal-kicking ability hasn't been all that great. And Brett Lovett, well, he has been in great form in the middle of the ground and probably will line up there again tonight. Bruce, I'd just like to congratulate the Brisbane Bears on a magnificent publication, their yearbook. Statistically, it's fantastic. There's a page on every player. It's probably the best production I've ever seen of its kind. And each one, each member will get a copy. Fantastic in a developing state. Well done to the Brisbane Bears. And the fellow on the screen, well, did he roar back into some form? Alistair Lynch, 8 goals from full forward last week. The high-priced recruit. Big publicity surrounding him, and those 3 players highlighted on screen took 25 marks between them last week. Roger Merritt with 5 goals, and Craig Starcevich, the ex-Collingwood player, gave the Bears middle players and their backline players something to aim at, and they're a far better side with it. They're a danger tonight.
Unchanged tonight, Brisbane. Crowd very big on the members, sparse elsewhere. It's hard to tell you how many people. We'd think about 18,000. We'll take a break. Back with the opening bounce after this. Welcome back to the MCG. Roger Merritt has won the toss. Will kick to the right of screen. Big welcome to you, Dipper, on the boundary line.
Thanks very much, Bruce. And once again, beautiful conditions here at the MCG. And we have my sidekick from Channel 7 up in Brisbane, Matthew Campbell. Welcome.
Great to be here, Dipper. It's a pleasure to be back at the MCG on the lights.
Terrific. And a big week for the Bears last week, and tonight a very big job for them.
Yeah, their form in Melbourne has been woeful over the past 6 or 7 years, in fact, and I can't remember them winning under lights except for probably the first game the Bears ever played.
And what was the feeling like up in Brisbane after the great win last week?
Very good. They're very confident. They realise that, that they don't often come down to Melbourne after a big win like that, so it's their best chance to cause an upset down here in Melbourne.
And it's a shame for Gary Lyon to be out of the side tonight, but for me, Bruce, I'm going for Melbourne, and for you, Matty?
I'd love to go to Brisbane, but I think Melbourne will be too strong in their home ground.
Come on, the Bears bought your ticket for you to come down.
Oh, well, I'm paid by Channel 7 as well,
Terrific. Thanks, Bruce.
OK, Melbourne with our boundary riders. Ian Robertson, welcome to the telecast. Who are you going for, Robbo?
I think Melbourne will win, Bruce. They've got a lot at stake. They've had a terrific start to the season.
And what a challenge for young Chris Scott to be lining up on Alan Jakovich in, I think it's only his 3rd game of his career. Drafted from the VSFL Under-18 competition last year. Well done to the big young fellow.
So the Bears to go to the right, Melbourne to the left. Gerald will pick up the changes. Doyle in the centre square, so Stein's not coming out of the centre square. Obb's got his first hand on the ball, but Brisbane go forward to half forward. So those big changes as Febey gets hold of it for the Demons. No Lyon and no Tingay, 2 players that are in the state squad. Lyon has been in brilliant form this year. He's kicked 8 goals in 3 matches. Tingay, well, he's carried on from where he was last year when he was 3rd in the best and fairest at Melbourne.
Boundary throw in, ruck contest, and a strong tackle on Todd Viney. And the umpire can do nothing but bounce.
And once again, we see Jim Stynes down in the goal square for Melbourne, being picked up by Richard Champion. Has been a tactic that's worked successfully for Melbourne to date this year.
Giving away centimetres on that last line of defence of the Bears, with Scott giving it away to Jakovich. And as Jared just mentioned there, Richard Champion also giving away a height advantage against Jimmy Steins.
And up the other end of the ground, Sean White, a revelation at full back for Melbourne this year, is picking up Alastair Lynch, the danger man, and young Primke has got the big job on Roger Merritt.
So on the boundary line on this centre wing, opportunity for Viney, gets his left foot to it, kicks it into the pocket, and a great mark that should be paid to Schwarz. And he's inside 50 metres, so the Demons a chance to register the first score of the evening. He goes in short, a little bit too short. Jakovich gathers, views the tackler. Back it goes to Schwarz, tries to crash his way through. Dropping the ball, and the umpire right on the spot awards a free kick to the Bears, and it could be taken by Leslie. It will be. Martin Leslie in that right half-back flank region. There's Lamprill, Grinter and Sullivan on the interchange bench for the start of the game for the Demons.
And he played 9 games last year, Leslie. Terrific until then. Ex-Port Adelaide. Strong mark taken by Fletcher. At half-back goes very short and very poorly. Wasted ball to White. Darryl White playing for Brisbane. And Sean White, different spelling, has got the big job on Lynch tonight. Doyle from centre wing to half forward. Good, strong grab in the front spot.
Peter Rohde.
Yes, up forward. Often used as a stopper. Steins is targeted centre half forward. Champion over the back was Schwarz. Couldn't take it. Lambert went to ground. Will get a free kick.
Well, Gary Lyon being absent, I guess Melbourne had to decide between Rohde or Neitz to go forward. And if Rohde doesn't work, and he has done it well up there, don't be surprised to see Neitz get an opportunity.
Lambert got it to Scott. Scott got it as far as McIver. It's back with the Demons now, around the body there by Dyson, who's come in for Lyon tonight. And Febey to take it. It's Matthew Febey. There's a big article on him in the Melbourne Age today. As he goes towards full forward, Jakovich went to ground. Scott punched away. Champion after it. He was named in the South Australian squad along with Leslie this week. Goes to ground on the far side over the top. That's Fabian Francis, who played here at Melbourne before going to Brisbane, and it'll be a ball up. Jeff Hilton getting involved with Francis there in Obst.
And in the centre of the ground, Danny Craven has a job on Brett Lovett. Brett Lovett has resurrected his career as a centreman, perhaps a little bit slow to go forward, and in his normal position on the half-back flank. And Danny Craven also trying to resurrect his career, an ex-St Kilda player. Did a very good job on Rob Harvey last week versus St Kilda, taking him out of the game.
Peter Carey, Mark Nash and Mark Westgarth are the umpires this evening. The kick by Lambert into the centre, but an unopposed mark in the finish taken by Doyle.
And he's been the big key for Melbourne this year. He's allowed Jim Steins to go forward and does quite well against taller opposition in the centre.
Yates bombs away to left half forward. The Bears could mop up here. Buse gives away a little bit of ground, gets it back to Darryl White. His kick out near the wing, punched away from Fletcher there by Kevin Dyson, and it goes over for a boundary throw-in. Well, Jared, we're going to find out whether the Demons really do rely on their captain, and of course young Stephen Tingay has been a terrific player for them.
Yes, they've been lucky with injuries so far this year, Robbo. Haven't used all that many players.
Well, a fight for possession here near the centre wing. Lambert, quick hand pass. Gee whiz. And that kick has been decided as long enough by the umpire, and it's Stephen Febey.
To centre half forward, good looking kick. Schwarz held up there by Leslie. Buse aimed for a free kick, played for it and gets it. It'll come back. Played in that memorable grand final against Geelong on this ground in '89. Captain of Geelong for a couple of years in 90 and 91. Scott swings it out wide.
And well done to young Scott, running off Alan Jakovich, exposing perhaps his greatest weakness, and that's his defensive side of his game.
So one 17-year-old to another as Lappin kicks the ball to half forward. Starcevich run under it. Oh, great mark by Neitz, the only teenager in the Melbourne side. And in the state squad. Short, Viney, the best and fairest from last year, Lambert. Lambert with some courage there, back to Lappin. Free kick to the ex-Tiger.
He's already been good, Bruce. This is his 4th possession.
Merritt goes with the first lead to centre half forward. Lynch stayed back. 3 Demons flew very high. Yates was the first to get his hands on it. Francis looks for a free kick. Gave Clark a hot ball. Obbs looked for one. Stephen Febey held up, and he's going to take a free kick at centre half back.
So still a score to be registered. The game only 5 minutes old. And Stephen Febey goes fairly direct in towards centre-half forward. A great diving attempt by his brother Matthew, who was best on the ground last week against Essendon. His kick in towards full forward. Good effort by Scott. Doesn't look as though he's overawed at all about playing on Jakovich. He struggles very, very hard. Andy Lovell in the middle of the action. It rebounds to Lovell. A sweeping hand pass goes to Matthew Febey. A quick kick to full forward. Bounces into the right forward pocket area. Daryl White, as athletic as ever. A sweeping hand pass. McIver, you're in all sorts of trouble, and you must be penalised because that was a pretty fierce tackle by Andrew Obst. Great stuff by the responsible Demon. Have another look at this.
Yes, he put the bumper bar up, but to no avail. Great tackle, as you said, Robbo.
Obst in towards full forward. It covers the players there. Buse off the left foot was good. Kicks close to the boundary line. It may go over. It does, just in front of Obst. And we'll have a throw in just forward of centre wing as we see Clark, Lehman and Kennedy on the interchange bench there for the Bears. Still a score to be registered in the game.
Centre wing, Doyle and White doing the ruck work. Obst gets a kick to half forward, but very wide and out on the full. Peter Rohde playing up forward as he did a bit last year. Barn was able to use both Rohde and Grinter up forward as pinch hitters last year. McIver, 150th game tonight as he kicks the ball up to centre wing. Febey paved away to Doyle, whose reflexes weren't quick enough to get it. Lambert was ridden into the ground. Obst gave Doyle a very hot ball. Doyle did very well that time to get it back to Viney. Viney gave it away. Ashcroft round his body. Up to centre wing. Troy Clark, who's had a brilliant start to the year. Lambert starting to fit into this Brisbane lineup. To centre half forward. Merritt tries to use his body. The oldest player in the competition, 34 years in all. White brilliant, gets it across to Neeks. Neeks out to half back. Well played, Melbourne. And Febey away, and there's a loose man created. Viney should go on. He stops and props.
Well, Todd Viney looking for the loose player in the pocket. Out comes Schwarz. Couldn't quite take the mark. Handball by Buse. Daryl White. Another hand pass. Mick McLean. Magic, as he is well known. And he's kicked towards half forward. No mark taken. It's punched away back near the centre. Gathered by Obst. Handball combination there. Febey again. It's Stephen across to Matthew. Matthew, gee whiz, you won't get any dinner tonight if Steve's the cook. That was a shocker. And the ball picked up now by White. Ashcroft gathers at the 50-metre mark for the Demons and goes wide for the Bears. Too wide for his teammate there in Francis, and the mark is taken by Cowell. He gets it to Obst, and the Demons are back into attack.
Obst, good short pass to Febey. Febey swings onto his left, the full forward. Jakovich caught underneath it. Champion provided the punch away. Rohde against the flow, trying to handball. Oh, brilliantly played by Lovell to Febey. Lovell, short vision, excellent. Gets Steins, finds him in the pocket. This will test the big fellow.
Yes, well, Andy Lovell just getting away from Andrew Buse on that occasion. Good vision to Jim Steins, but unfortunately led himself into the dead pocket. Probably a little bit tight for him to convert.
Cross the face, Jakovich with a fly. Front spot being paid to Pios. And Pios from the back pocket to bring it in. Known better as a goal kicker, Pios. And going to go across the ground. Okay to Champion. Champion round his body with a high ball. Wide, good mark, White. What an athlete he is. He's exciting, isn't he?
Had to go over the top.
And he does. Took a little bit of time. Leslie back to Pios. Pios is at left half back. A good long kick in towards half forward. No mark taken by Troy Clark. Cowell combines with Yates. Yates is clever, and that's a good kick because it finds Brett Lovett wide, close to the boundary line, and that kick in short, and well done, Jimmy Steins. He's a big man, but he got down very nicely to take the mark close to the ground.
A lovely kick. That's the way Barn plays. Possession football, pinpoint passes, and good executed handball.
Looking for Doyle near the centre. Taken by Viney. Handball over the top. Hilton. Got a little bit of space for himself and squeezes a kick in towards full forward. But the mark is taken by Daryl White. Quickly. No, he's not allowed, according to the umpire. He must go and do it all over again because he's got to go over the man on the mark. This is Lambert at centre-half back. Lambert's kick out towards the wing, towards Starcevich territory. Couldn't take the mark. Went in and made a contest of it. Held Brett Lovett up. And well done, Marcus Ashcroft. But the umpire decides he will officiate and bounce the ball just forward of the wing in the Bears attacking half. And still, would you believe, no score registered.
The Bears are using Darryl White as a sweeper across half-back. Obviously, Robert Wall's a bit concerned about the height of Melbourne's forward line.
Doyle, it's a bit like being at Wembley for the FA Cup final. We've been going 11 minutes and it's 0-0. Not a score registered here.
And I think that's a good sign for the Brisbane Bears, Bruce. For them to be competitive tonight, I think they had to be within striking distance at quarter time. There's a long way to go in this quarter, but the early signs are good.
Champion floated one that fell into Troy Clark's arms. Francis squares it to Lambert. Lambert under pressure. Had to reflex it back towards Francis to centre half forward. Merritt Lynch at the back. White athletic as always. Goes for it. Dyson's half volley was excellent. To Lamprell, the two men that came in. Lamprell wide to Febey. Febey goes inside to Viney. This is a most promising attack. Viney in the end had to squeeze it out. Jakovich at the back and never got over there. Terrific mark by Scott. And the 17-year-old has started splendidly. Gets it across to an old fella in Buse. Buse to Lappin. Lappin to Pios. Pios' left-hand handball okay. McLean goes away to centre-half forward. Francis in the front spot. Stein's clever. The vision was good. Neat's under pressure and the Bears can mop it up again with White.
You talk about athleticism. This man has it. How he picked that up close to his ankles was very good. The kick in towards full forward. The Demon defence standing up. Troy Clark gets the handball away to Francis. Francis's kick across the back position. And away goes Primke. The hand pass. He finds Stein. Stein's handballs it to himself. Has plenty of time though. Jimmy Stein's in towards centre-half back. Primke again gets it to Obst. Obst, a scrubber of a kick. The forwards hate them. And the Bears mop up so easily. So both defences well on top in the early part of the game. That clean bowl's Craven. Brett Lovett's there to punch it away. And it goes over for a boundary throw in between centre wing and left half forward Robert Walls, Andrew Ireland and Scott Clayton. The onlookers there from the Bears coach's box. And Obst will come away with the ball. The hand pass. A long kick by Stephen Febey's a good one. Goes right into a vacant area in the forward pocket region. Back goes Champion. The clash with Jakovich was okay. And the ball forced over again by that Bears defence. And you've got to be impressed with Chris Scott. He just looks so positive.
Wasn't it a great mark?
Weather tonight, it's pretty mild. 16, we're going for an overnight low of about 10. Doyle's kick towards full forward. Was it Rohde? Across the face, surely a score here. Lovell with a chance, caught. Great tackle by Scott. Over the top, left foot by Jakovich. McIver over the top of him. Jakovich goes for it. Has he? No, just missed to behind. I'm just thinking, Gerard, a moment ago, how would you like to have been young Scott, 17 years of age, and going to bed last night and knowing that you were going to stand Jakovich tonight at the MCG?
Well, the word from Brisbane is he doesn't lack courage. But, that was one of the worst kicks I've seen from fullback. Now, Richard Champion's got to put that behind him, as do the Bears, particularly if they convert a goal, because it's only one mistake, and they shouldn't let that one, him in particular on screen, allowed to affect his game, because he has started well.
Well, there was a great quote in the paper from Malcolm Blight about who he's going to line up on Wayne Carey, and he said he can either dream about it or he can have nightmares, and that would answer your question there a minute ago. The young bloke may make a big name for himself. Gee, that's a good kick by Andy Lovell. Well done, goal. So the Demons, 1-1, lead the Bears yet to score, and it's taken 2/3 of the quarter to register those two scores which have come in the last minute of this match so far.
Well, you've got to be impressed by Melbourne. They've lost two of their best players. They are looking quite good, a lot more stable than perhaps the Brisbane Bears today.
The bounce back in the centre. It scrums out the back. Leslie nearly took it, but Steins. Schwarz with strength gets through and then forces the kick into the left forward pocket area. under a little bit of pressure there with Schwarz, and the kick ill-directed. It's out of bounds in that forward pocket, about 20 metres around from the Melbourne goal.
Schwarz just a little unlucky there. He was on the burst. He knew he was free. Unfortunately, he was right on his 15-metre limit that he could run, so he had to force the kick. It wasn't a great one, but deep in Melbourne's forward line.
Doyle doing the ruck work, gets it to Jakovich. Great bump by Buse. Got past his own man with a bit of a blind turn. Away to Fletcher. Fletcher's kick is high. Contest has got to be good. Well done, McLean. Terrific stuff, but he's beaten just by numbers. Matthew Febey Obbs, tackled by Leslie, and Obbs didn't have the football. You can see the umpire there in the foreground indicating just that. So Obbs has it about 65 metres from the Melbourne goal.
Goes short. Jakovich the target. Strong hands. Danger period for Brisbane, isn't it? They've held and held and held, and suddenly the gates might open for the Demons.
Well, Melbourne did that well, opening up the space there for Alan Jakovich to lead in. The problem for Brisbane at the moment is through the middle of the ground. You'll see here there's no help for young Scott, and this is a soda for Jakovich. But the Bears must get the ball from over their half-forward line, because they've got their better players, Alistair Lynch and Roger Merritt, getting cold down in the full forward line.
The average is 4.5. The great men like Lockett and Dunstall got 4.8 per match. Jakovich, good-looking kick. It's a goal. Steins and White. Steins goes early, tries to get a left hand. Viney couldn't crash through. Obbs excellent in the crunch as normal. Handball by Schwarz, good to Febey. Febey away to Viney.
And Viney backs himself, gets around onto that favoured right foot, good kick. Plenty of space there for Alan Jakovich, and he's marked on his chest about 40 metres out on about a 45-degree angle.
And a great breakaway from Todd Viney, and an excellent pass. Perhaps in the pass, his kicking has led a little bit to be desired, but not on that occasion. Pinpoint accuracy, setting up Alan Jakovich.
Jared, you watch Jakovich spot an area down the ground a little bit to try and give himself some sort of a line-up in the ground?
Well, I think it's good practice for all forwards to know exactly what step they're going to kick from.
So Alan Jakovich goes for goal. It's another good kick. He's got his second. Well, it's an interesting tactic. I think Peter Hudson introduced that many years ago, where he put a little marker between the man on the mark and where he was kicking from.
Yes, and the object then is to just follow the two markers and kick in the straight line. Obviously, then you don't have to watch the goals. You can watch the ball onto the boot. I think a lot of forwards have used it, but certainly Hudson was the one that popularised it.
Melbourne 3-1, Brisbane yet to score. Jakovich with 2 goals in the opening quarter. Dyson again good to Steins, to Obbs on the run. Not a good kick that time to fall forward. Doyle came out. Leslie, not a bad take, little kick to centre half back. Fletcher with courage against the flow, took the mark. Was he off?
Had a look.
Fletcher swings it wide. Danger here, big danger. One of the Phoebes can cut it off. Matthew, Rohde gives it up. Yates to try and mop up. Good tackle by McIver to rip it away. McLean goes back to Pios. He's got to take on Rohde. Goes out wide. Sweeping handball by McLean out wide to McIver, has followed it up at centre wing. McIver with some time to do something constructive. Fletcher under pressure from Obbs is a brilliant tackler. McIver. Melbourne is persistent, isn't it? Keeps on going here. Lovett gets it over. Yates runs into a dead end. Francis gets hold of him. Some very good tackling. Lambert, they're throwing it around both teams. Lambert out wide. Ashcroft's handball inside, very good. Going for goal is Clark with a long one, and it's a behind. So the first score to the Bears. Clark coming off the interchange bench. And Brisbane at 1 point, Melbourne at 3-1.
Kick in by Stephen Febey, goes wide and finds Yates well outside 50 metres. His kick goes down the wing. Matthew Febey, by gee, he's getting some touches. He's a good kick of the football too. This is inside 50 metres and an excellent mark. Taken by Schwarz, who was quiet last year, had a bit of a disappointing season, but seems to have fought his way back.
Yes, he's hitting his straps early in the season for Melbourne, but I was so impressed with the transition. From full-back, there was 4 possessions. Ball didn't hit the ground. Magnificent attacking work from Melbourne.
So Schwarz, who does kick the ball long distances, and that kick just off to the left-hand side and through for one behind.
There's a couple of key areas that all clubs have to be talented in and successful in if they're going to win games. One is to defend the opposition's kickouts. The other is centre bounces. And at the moment, Melbourne is dominating both.
Scott goes long, Stein's in the box seat. The Brownlow medal with a big stretch takes the mark. Swings onto that arc as he's done so often, kicks it out in front. Oh, good grab by Neitz. What a player this fellow is. He came into the side last year as an 18-year-old and he hasn't missed. He's done a prosciutto. He's played 23 straight. Pretty good effort, particularly when your team's going all right. And he's one of the first men picked now at 19 years of age. The only teenager for the Demons out there tonight. He's 60 metres out. Gee, it's a good kick. It's right there. Big fly by Schwarz at the back. Buse runs it over. And Melbourne up to 3-3 to Brisbane are behind.
Yes, Neitz is one of 80 players to have made his debut last year. And interestingly, there's already 11 players out of the under-18 competition that have made their debut so far this year. Scott being one of them.
And that was Chris Scott kicking the ball in. Ashcroft. Hand pass for Lambert. Lambert goes wider. Leslie. Forced to kick with the left foot. And Fletcher, well tackled there by Yates. Umpire gives the all clear, so it's a boundary throw in on centre wing. Graham Yates looked up a little anxiously, but got the nod as a fair tackle from the central umpire.
Melbourne with the edge, 9 victories in the 12 matches so far.
Bears force it up towards half forward again, but it's chopped off this time by Sean White. His manufactured kick proved to be okay. He found Steins, and Steins very nicely has found Lovell. Lovell with the shorter hair, the slick back. Been a terrific player for Melbourne since crossing from Tasmania. A little undecided as to where to go, and accordingly kicks it to the front of the goals, and a good mark taken by Brett Lovett. In front, and his hands in front of his face, he's controlled the football to the ground.
Yeah, you'll see the monstrous advantage in height that Brett Lovett has there, although it probably didn't make the difference on that occasion. Brett Lovett, with very sure hand, took it quite well.
Well, Brett Lovett's kick for goal. Goal umpire doesn't move, it's a Melbourne goal. So after starting slowly, both sides, from that point of view, Melbourne have now kicked 4 goals, 3. The Bears are just 1 behind.
Well, for the sake of those that like a competitive game, let's hope that Melbourne are kicking to the attacking end. As we know at the MCG, there isn't an attacking end, so it's, I guess, time for the Brisbane Bears to fire up and get a score on the board. Lynch touched the ball, I think, on 1 occasion. Merritt hasn't been near it, basically because the Bears haven't got the ball into their forward line.
They got 13 out of them last week, 4 through to a point. Lynch and Merritt between them, 8 and 5 respectively. Lappin, Hilton, or high tackle on Francis. Advantage is given to Brisbane. McIver's kicked to centre half forward. Lynch with a big stretch. Yates under some pressure, gets it away, back into the centre square. Dyson, well done, Lappin. Punched it forward. Ashcroft, good take under pressure. Handball was pretty slow coming. Hilton, sold a little dummy. Good handball, a piercing handball to Dyson. Dyson to Jakovich.
Great punch.
Scott hangs onto it, gets a free kick over the shoulder.
Now, that was one of the best punches I've seen this season. He knew he couldn't get near the football, so he attacked his elbow, he broke the arm of Jakovich and effected a perfectly legal tackle.
He's got a bit of power, hasn't he, the 17-year-old, as he goes wide again. Rohde swings it wider. Neitz, good kick to Jakovich. They're coming through half-back, aren't they, with a lot of confidence, Melbourne. Well, doesn't he love this scenario? The siren has sounded. He knows that everybody on the ground is waiting for him.
He's one of your favourite players, Bruce. There is absolutely no question of that.
Love watching him. And you'd back him from here.
Yes.
Just adores this situation.
He may even kick it left foot.
Let's see if he can conjure up a bit of magic from the boundary line at the end of the first quarter. He's kicked 2 already. Jacko goes, gives it a ride, and misses. It's a behind. Look at him. What a star he is. It's 4-4 to a point.
The Anzac Weekend Highlights. Collingwood.
Quarter time of the MCG on Friday Night Football. It's Melbourne 4-4 to Brisbane are behind.
This match is part of the Foster's 1994 AFL Premiership season.
Neil Baum talking to the Melbourne players, and the Big Dipper on the boundary line. Great start for the Demons.
Certainly is, Bruce, and we're lucky to have the skipper of the Melbourne club, Gary Lyon. Firstly, do you remember where you are now?
I do, mate. It's nice to be back here, and I know I'm in trouble when I forget your face. It pops up everywhere.
Just to let people around Australia know that you were knocked out in the first quarter last week against Essendon, and apparently you didn't remember you had a wife and children. Is that true?
A bit of strife when you forget the wife, eh? Particularly if you're going out, which fortunately I wasn't. But no, I had a touch of amnesia, so best to sit this one out, they said.
Now for yourself, only the 1 week out?
Yeah, it'll just be one, and look forward to Collingwood next Saturday.
Now, a bit of a slow start for the game, but the boys have certainly scored in the last quarter there.
Yeah, look, to be 4 up, I think you'd take that at the start of the quarter, so it was a little bit of a struggle early, but, you know, it's a nice position to be in.
And the guys are playing good, confident football.
Yeah, look, they're a good bunch, and I think we're responding to some pretty good coaching, and it's nice when you're winning. Everyone seems to enjoy themselves.
Well, terrific, mate, and I hope you remember to come down here next week.
I'll do that.
Thanks to you, Bruce.
Dipper with Gary Lyon. And a slow start for Melbourne, held up by Brisbane in the first 15 minutes, then right over the top. Start of the second quarter on Friday Night Football at the MCG. Melbourne leading 4-4, 28 to Brisbane 1 point. Jakovich with 2 goals in the opening quarter. Dyson gets it forward. Lappin high and wide and conceding a bit of ground in the end. Ashcroft takes the mark. Good mark too. One of the 3 vice-captains that Robert Walls has appointed this year. Craven given the job on Brett Lovett. Centre half forward the kick. Matthew Febey the first to stretch. Lambert had plenty of touches in the opening term. Viney tries to crash his way through. Off the ground by Matthew Febey. Pios runs across in front of Hilton cleverly. Then goes to ground again. Matthew Febey back. Quick kick by Dyson to half forward. Obst in the right place. Couldn't quite hold it. Schwarz with an opportunity. Keep his eye on it. Pressure on him now. Lovell gets it out well. Rohde goes for goal. High ball. Jakovich and Scott. Champion gets back. Well done. Behind. 4-5 to a point.
Gee, Andrew Obst is a good player at doing things that, well, they don't really get credited in the stats book, but, geez, he's fantastic with those little tap-ons. Kick in for the Bears, goes wide to right half-back, looking out there for Clark. Lovell, Dyson, back into the pocket, Lovett, back to Lovell. Disciplined kick by Andy Lovell to centre half forward. And Jakovich takes a fairly easy mark in the finish, and he's about 40 metres out pretty well directly in front.
As he lost his opponent there, Scott, the only chance for the Bears was if McIver could have effected a spoil, but he was perhaps more concerned with his own man rather than the ball. It's where the backman get caught between the devil and the deep blue sea.
I think in this situation the Bears would do very well to just man up, because Melbourne charging, and Jakovich has kicked his 3rd goal. So at the start of the second term, Melbourne have now kicked 5. They're 5-5. Brisbane are just 1 behind.
You'll see this mark on screen again. I think the Bears have got to try to get Alistair Lynch into the game. Perhaps Matthew Clark could take the ruck, move out to centre half forward and get Lynch onto the ball as a mobile ruckman just for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Get him warmed up, give the players around him some confidence. As you see Matthew Kennedy, a mobile player, big kick warming up.
Lopsided scoreboard now, 10 shots to 1, 5-5 to a point. Brett Lovett out of the centre. Hilton unable to get a free kick. Craven, quick kick around. Was able to improvise a bit there. White probably didn't have to knock it on in the end, but it's come off. Yates wide. Lovett just slipped at the wrong moment there, then taps it back into the path of Rohde. No high tackle paid there. Handball by Craven inside. Good to Lambert. Lambert swings it out wide. Lappin, the rookie, the number 2 in the draft last year, to centre half forward, and Lynch totally out of it so far. White holding it up. Well, he's like Lazarus, isn't he? Lazarus watching this match tonight. One of the great players for the Brisbane Broncos in the Rugby League. They're in the box with Robert Walls, some of the hierarchy at the Broncos, but White's comeback to footy has been outstanding. Schwartz's long kick to centre half forward. Hilton looking for a free kick, but it's going to Pios. Hughes just handing it over. Pios rather swings it out wide to Clark.
And the mark is taken out there by Clark. Gets it away to Champion. Little kick by Richard Champion. Great spoil by Neitz on Starcevic. And the Demons force it over for a boundary throw-in. Jared, your comment about Alistair Lynch. I know he kicked 8 goals last week, but he just doesn't look as though he's ready for it. With that shoulder injury?
Certainly lacking some confidence, I would imagine. You saw that, I saw it watching Channel 7 last week against St Kilda. The ball, he said, by his own volition, fell in his arms a number of times. But still, he's a class player, needs to get into it. I'm sure might having a field day on him at the moment.
Well, Neitz has got the football between centre-half back and wing. He kicks it in short. The mark is taken by Doyle. Looked quite accomplished. Away to Matthew Febey. His kick to the goal front. And the mark taken by Scott at the back. Obviously thought it wasn't a mark, so he played on quickly. Kicked it out to a vacant wing area. Dyson shepherding for Sean White. Handball, terrific stuff to Viney. Viney into the pocket. The leading player, Jakovich, forced to kick with the left. And may have just been over the boundary line. So we'll have a throw in. Alan Jakovich looking quite relaxed about his football this year, and I suppose we got a bit of an idea of that. The comment by Gary Lyon, when you're winning games, everyone enjoys it.
Got a real taste for footy, the team, haven't they, at the moment?
My word.
Putting themselves where the ball is. Like that insatiable appetite that Essendon seemed to carry through last year. Jakovich went without that one. Ashcroft to Pios. Wide to centre wing. Bouncing ball, and Yates happy to let it run over.
And all the rugby league fans in Brisbane would appreciate that kick. Well weighted, just reaching the boundary line. Scott Clayton on the right-hand side there has been acknowledged as one of the recruiting gurus that have brought some of these superstars to the Bears.
Yates to half forward. Lovell did pretty well then. Handball by McLean was good. Hughes gets it from Ashcroft. Centering kick. Craven and Leslie to go for it. Brett Lovett against the tide. Holds Craven up very well. Schwarz, good take by the big man. Then takes on an opponent. And then goes for goal with a long one. Steins at the back sets himself. Champion in the front spot.
Well done.
Yes, he against greater height from Steins. He held his ground well. Then swings it out wide. Gets it to Pios.
And Pios kicks the ball pretty well under normal circumstances, but he could have kicked that a little wider for Leslie. A push, was it, Jared?
That's what the umpire paid.
And Leslie takes the free kick. He quickly gives the hand pass away. It's Lappin in a bit of trouble. Little kick, not far enough, so Melbourne's pressure very good. Still, now he's got a chance to make up, and this time he throws it on the boot a little bit quicker. Ball in near the centre. The kick forward by Febey, in towards centre-half forward. Punched away from Jakovich by Scott. Gathered by Leslie. Was that a throw? Yes, according to Jared Healy, but not by the umpire. The ball still at centre-half forward for the Demons. Matthew Febey gets it back to Viney. Viney's kick across his body is a beauty. It's a goal. A magnificent kick by Todd Viney for a Melbourne goal. That's their 6th, and they lead by 40 points.
Yes, well, Todd Viney is direct the punt. Have a look at this one. You saw there an open hand, most definitely a throw. So full justice to Melbourne here with Viney getting away from Craig Lambert on this occasion. You saw him just coming in late to kick a nice goal. Both players getting plenty of possessions. The Bears need Lambert to tighten up.
6-5 to a point. 40-point margin here. Melbourne right on top. Brisbane needing a couple of quick ones. Lambert to half forward. Starcevic has also been well out of sorts in this match. Like Lynch and Merritt, though. In Merritt's case, he probably hasn't had many chances. Short kick away. Obbs has got it at half-back. To Febey. What a game he's having, Matthew Febey. 8 kicks so far. Bewes' handball will put Ashcroft under enormous pressure. Hilton and Febey. Febey again. Free kick coming back against Hilton on Ashcroft, and Melbourne will pay a bit for that because they're away.
Well, the big thing that the Bears find difficult to transport interstate is the intensity with which they play up at the Gabba. Melbourne has been superb in their tackling, their pressure, as you described it, Bruce, and that's been the big difference between the two sides.
Cow wide to Stephen Febey, to half forward. Lovell attacks it very hard, goes to ground.
Ashcroft and Pios over the top. McLean, still McLean, Rohde over the top of him. Intercepted by Febey. And free kick coming back to Stephen Febey.
Gee, Mick McLean was a bit stiff because there were a couple of times when I thought he was held, and then all of a sudden the umpire gave it the other way with a bit of a ticking touchwood for the Demons.
Mick McLean on Matthew Febey, so he certainly needs to tighten up. And Febey, one of the best on ground.
Stephen Febey's kick has been marked by Pios. Now Pios looking to transfer play, trying to draw a player.
Oh, that
now he bombs into a one-on-one, and the kick wasn't good enough. And Jared, you weren't happy with that because Kevin Dyson has taken the mark.
Well, Paul Pios is an experienced player. He's played finals football, I think, for the West Coast Eagles. He was caught in two minds. Instead of maintaining possession with a short chip kick, he kicked it to no one. That is an absolute shock, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him benched for that.
Well, Dyson, who is a very good kicker of the football, I would consider will get the distance. Kevin Dyson had a spell in the VFA with Oakley, and that kick just falls a little short. Is that a mark? It could be to Steins. He gives away ground, and the mark is taken by Hilton. And this really is Year 12 boys playing Grade 2 boys at this stage. The Bears completely out of their class.
Kennedy coming onto the ground, and Danny Craven off.
And Hilton goes for goal and gets his first.
7-5 Melbourne. Brisbane at a point, 46-point margin. White climbs high. Gee, it's one-way traffic, isn't it? Dyson puts Matthew Febey under the hammer that time. Hilton, advantage given. Hilton goes to full forward. Not such a good kick. Opportunity at the back for Buse. Will run it right to the boundary line. Left-hand handball, hugging the boundary line. Lambert, again under pressure. Rohde just rides the tackle, goes to Lovell inside. He squares it. Pios with an opportunity. Goes backwards and gets Scott. This is a young 17-year-old who's playing on Jakovich. Chris Scott back into the centre. White was one of the challenges there with Lynch. Gee, the Febey brothers, they're having a picnic, aren't they? With Stephen and Matthew, twin to twin. What games they're playing, what seasons they're having. That time Matthew gives it up. And Richard Champion takes it at half-back.
Well, good understanding there by the Febey boys. Richard Champion under lots of pressure. His kick goes out towards Lynch. It's punched away. Back near the centre. Craig Lambert getting onto that left foot. Hoists it high in towards the 50-metre line. Punched away. Oh, there's a Melbourne player down. Sean White. He got up very quickly. The emergency umpire's out, and there's a report. Is there?
No, just settling him down, I think, Robbo.
It was Alistair Lynch, by the look of it, the Bears player that the emergency umpire spoke to. A boundary throw in on centre wing. Melbourne fans not happy. Play goes on. Kennedy couldn't quite get his kick away. Matthew Febey under pressure. Lambert tries to get it clear. Tackle is by Viney, but there is an infringement, and the free kick will be taken by Craig Lambert. Well, they've had their share of the football, the Bears, and they are still to kick a goal in this game, and we're halfway through the second quarter.
Kick into the space. No one really wanting it except for Dyson. To Yates. Swings it back to Febey. To centre wing. That was Stephen, number 21. Matthew wears 20. Left footer Matthew.
I'll give you a quote from Robert Wars in their yearbook. Now it's payback time for the players to perform to a level that will give the club the recognition it deserves.
Well, the odds makers were pretty right, weren't they? Looked a bit skinny 10s on with Lyon and Tingay out, but that's what Melbourne was on the sportsbook tonight. Leslie receives the handball from Francis. Pios, well, terrific pressure, but a terrible handball.
Oh, gee, how blessed were they to get out of that?
Well, getting back to
the screwing stops, Jared. He fell over.
Well, you can still go to ground with the men, but certainly far less times than if you've got those rotten moulders on.
They're shell-shocked a few of the Bears players, aren't they? White's kicked a half forward.
Look, Cruz, you can make all sorts of excuses. It's a national competition. You've got to play here in Melbourne. And as Wall said, payback time, and it starts right now for Brisbane. They've got to pull their finger out.
The Febeys combining again. Merritt got his first touch a moment ago. Stephen Febey runs it out of play. The score at the MCG is Melbourne 7-5-47, and the Bears are a point.
What about the possibility that they could be playing a grand final team? Are we just not giving enough credit to Melbourne?
There's no side that much better than the opposition in today's game, I wouldn't have thought. No goals to nearly half-time. Melbourne are a class act, there's no doubt about that, Robbo, and they're playing good football, but Brisbane have left intensity at the Gabba.
Well, they're teaming very well, Melbourne, because every time there's a player goes for the ball, there seems to be another 2 or 3 there to give him the option. And on this occasion here, the Bears have infringed against the player who has the kick. It's Brett Lovett. And Roger Merritt, the captain, being penalised 50 metres. And it will give Brett Lovett the chance to kick his second goal.
The man on the mark, Mick McLean, has been moved into the centre on Brett Lovett, with Craven being benched.
Brett Lovett's kick for goal is good. 2 goals to Brett Lovett, and he's carrying on the good work that he has set up in the previous matches for the Demons this year. And the scoreboard, yes, it is 8-5 to 1 point.
Brett Lovett has been very impressive this season. He was almost gone last year. There was a lot of people suggesting he was finished as a player, but he's done the right thing, come back and got the score on the board.
Viney out of the centre. It's 8-5 to a point. All Melbourne. Leslie goes for it against the flow. Kick off the ground. Gets to Fletcher, who's been quiet. Fletcher kick up towards the centre wing. Yates in the front spot. Lambert. Okay. Troy Clark on the up to Merritt, who's trying to have some impact on the game. His testimonial tomorrow night. And Febey runs it out. The Febey boys have had 15 kicks between them so far. That one, Stephen. He's played well over 100 games, Stephen Febey, so there's a fair bit of footy there.
Darryl White limping off the ground, Bruce, being replaced by Clark.
Merritt at the back. Snared by the other Clark for Brisbane Troy. To think that Matthew Febey was drafted 3 times for Melbourne, was down and out.
Suffered a lot of injuries. I think he broke his arm about 3 times.
They're the umpires. Peter Carey, Mark Nash and Mark Westgarth tonight. Steins is at the back, Merritt at the front. You'd love the Bears to sneak a goal or 2 here.
3 or 4. Let's just get some competition in the game, Bruce.
Well, Melbourne and North Melbourne are the 2 teams that seem to have made the real progress this year.
And the Demons a very even team performance, with 2 of their stars out of the game in Stephen Tingay and Gary Lyon, and still they dominate this match. The ball is on centre wing. Clark is dumped. Todd Viney, little hand pass. Brilliant stuff again. Rohde, Obst, and out wider still. Todd Viney's running there was excellent. Off the left foot to half forward. Oh, Martin Leslie let it through. And now a free kick is picked out, and it's going to be taken there by Pios. His kick is short. The mark taken by Fletcher. He plays on quickly. Anyone to kick to. He goes to centre half forward. No mark taken. Lynch gets his first kick. Short in towards full forward. Punched away by Nix. Stephen Febey there to mop up. And he kicks it high out towards the wing. And a good mark taken by Champion. Champion looks as though he may have been moved also. His kick goes in towards the left half forward region. Punched away from Lynch. Good play there again by Febey. It could have been Matthew, because that's Stephen there seeing it over. And the Demon supporters are pretty happy with their performance, because they dominate this game. 8-5 to a point, and Matthew Campbell, you've got a report from the boundary line.
Yes, Robbo. Darryl White has come off the ground with a fairly bad cork thigh. Has it strapped heavily under ice. I'm not sure whether he'll take him to the part in the game.
Well, that's a body blow, isn't it? Because he was one Brisbane player doing well in the first quarter. Play held up for the moment as the players weren't too sure. Schwarz to Rohde. Rohde back turns. Then paves some space for himself. Left-hand handball to Schwarz. Schwarz at 50. Centering kick, looking for someone in the space. Vision not good that time. And Champion able to rebound. Cowell in the front spot. Clark brought it to ground. They've got the numbers now. Lehman on the ground. Clark had it ripped away from him. There's Lehman getting a handball out to Ashcroft. Through the centre. Left foot looking for Kennedy. Taken by Stephen Febey. Obst. Reliable as ever to Sean White. Sean White squeezes to Brett Lovett. Sidestep was excellent. Left-hand handball was magnificent to Cowell. Cowell to centre half forward. Champion in the box seat. Third mark in 2 minutes for Champion. Across to the 17-year-old Scott. Scott through the centre. Lynch will give a little shove and a push, and it'll be paid against him. And won't the Demon fans give this a roar?
Breaking down badly at centre-half forward, Brisbane Bears. They have lifted around the ground. Richard Champion in particular, other than that poor mistake he made in the first quarter to give away a goal, has been an impressive player for the Bears, one of the few they've had. Alistair Lynch, I think you're right, Robbo, not quite ready with just basically confidence.
50 metres.
Any betting on a goalless first half from the Bears?
It would have been 100 to 1, wouldn't it? Hilton's got it.
The defence of Melbourne is lousy.
Mean, isn't it?
I think a lot of it's coming really because there isn't that many opportunities for the Brisbane forwards by the domination of Melbourne across half back through to half forward.
Scott's kick out towards the wing. Goes to the back, Sean White. Hand pass, put Hilton under a bit of pressure. Forced the kick to go astray. Pios at left half back. Kicks quickly in towards the centre. It's punched away by Cowell. Rebounds to Kennedy. Tackle was very effective. Gave the hand pass away. And now Melbourne's defence again combined. Stephen Febey and Todd Viney. Todd Viney a little kick. Well thought out because he knew he could run on and accept the hand pass back. And then the short kick was effective because Stones is marked. And the Melbourne players just controlling this game all over the ground. Stones looks into the left forward pocket area. Schwarz couldn't take the mark. At the back was Doyle, beaten for it there by Champion. Doyle went in after it again and forces a boundary throw in just inside 50 in Melbourne's left half forward area. They lead 8-5. Brisbane just 1 point, 4.5 minutes left in this first half. Now Lehman, who's come onto the ground, gets it to Pios. Pios a sweeping hand pass. Running down the ground is Buse. Buse off the left foot. Out towards the wing. Matthew Kennedy couldn't take the mark. Look at the Demons back onto their feet. And after that football, the kick forward is by Neitz. In towards half forward. Pios is held by Hilton. Didn't have the football. Pios to take the free kick for the Bears. Quickly, he goes forward and wide to Buse.
Short. And gets Clark. Matthew Clark at centre wing. Floating ball to half forward. Cowell's big stretch. White taken off a moment ago for Lamprell. Cowell, well played. Neitz gave it away to Clark. Clark to full forward. Lynch has two opponents against him. He'll sandwich between them. He'll get a free kick. Wonder why White went off. Done the job on Lynch, hadn't he, White? He didn't seem to be injured.
Well, you can only imagine it would be some sort of injury. Perhaps White took himself off. Let's hope that Alistair Lynch can convert. He came with a rush in the last half last week after a quiet first half.
Kicked 8 last week. Good looking kick. Well, not good enough. It was a close call. And that goalless first half, Robbo, is still very much a possibility. 8-5 Melbourne. Brisbane 2 points. Doing wonderful things to Melbourne's percentage, this sort of scoreline. Lamprell getting it in the back pocket.
Yes, well, especially if the trend continues in the second half, which I wouldn't like to be in the Bears' rooms, because if Robert Walsh doesn't go berserk about his players at half-time, well, I don't know. This is Cowell kicking towards half-forward. Good juggling attempt there, but not paid. Yes, it is. And it will go back to right half-back to be taken by Buse. Buse doing reasonably well. The ball's been down there a fair bit. Kennedy, I'd have him in the opening 18 every week. Matthew Kennedy in towards the half-forward area. Could be mopped up again here. Lamprell, Todd Viney, sweeping hand pass. Stein's in trouble, but look at the running. Stephen Febey there to help the acting captain out. Gets the handball over the top to Dyson. Dyson can draw a player and does so. Wide. Schwarz in towards full forward. Too high for Jakovich. I've got credits there for Scott because he's doing well. So is Champion. The Bears' best players are certainly in defence. Leslie had a little tap on. Scott attempted kick off the ground. And Merritt made a path for Chris Scott. Lambert chipped in. Free kick has to come back to the 50-metre line. And it may be taken by Roger Merritt. Roger Merritt a few minutes ago tried to stir up a bit of venom into the Bears' performance by taking on Jimmy Steins. Hand pass away to Champion. Champion's kicked down the wing. McIver lifted behind, but he was able to recover his position and gather. Kicks in towards the centre of the ground. The mark taken by Lehman. Gee whiz, the Demons certainly look much bigger, stronger. Lehman, no one on the mark, and then kicks into his opponent. Ball bashed forward. Brett Lovett. Down it comes again. Demons a chance to score out of this. Viney's kick, beautiful vision. Wide. Matthew Febey will nearly kick a goal. Matthew Febey will kick a goal. Brilliant kick. Well, Jared, you're just shaking your head in amazement. The opposition feeble, but Melbourne doing everything right.
Well, this is a magnificent kick from Viney. It's a pity that Troy Lehman's kick minutes or seconds earlier wasn't a little bit better. Under absolutely no pressure, he ran on with nobody on the mark, but still managed to find someone to kick the ball in. Smothered turnover goal to Melbourne.
9-5 to 2 points. As Melbourne sailing away to a big winner here at the MCG on the Friday night game. Lehman's kick towards full forward. Merritt jostled out of it. Back to centre half for Clark. Back to McLean. Will this be the goal they've been looking for in the first half? Gives it a big hook and misses. Well, Sean White situation, Dipper.
Yes, unfortunately for Sean White, a slight hamstring strain, but he can come back on if required.
He's had a lot of problems in groin area, hasn't he, hamstring?
Yes, and unfortunately another blow probably for Victoria. Sean White in pretty good form. I know the selectors were looking at him as a possible call-up this week.
Dyson to Stephen Febey. Now Matthew, after Buse punched it away. To centre half forward, Pios should mark a good mark that. Oh,
50.
Crashing in, Schwarz was the first one and Doyle the other. And that would have hurt. Have a look at this.
What do you think, Robbo? 50 here?
It's just as he takes the mark. Oh, no, it's a bit late. Yep, you were right, Jerry.
The umpire's a good 5 metres from that.
Pios unable to take it. Scott bangs it back into the centre. Leslie. Little one off the ground by Hilton. Lambert's had some touches, but it's been mainly defensive. Lappin goes out wide. Francis in front that time at centre wing. Francis centering kick to centre half forward. Starcevic has been a disappointment.
What hope is Alistair Lynch or Craig Starcevic got when the ball's kicked to both Jim Steins and David Neate? Steins just dropping back and he was pinpointed by Fabian Francis.
Oh, that's silly.
Well, Alistair's just about lost his cool here at the moment. A little bit frustrated.
Primke getting the mark and Lynch giving another 50, his second. So Merritt and Lynch have been involved in the 50-metre penalties. Primke came into the team tonight originally with Lamprell going out. Lamprell now back in with both Lyon and Tingay missing out. High drop punt towards full forward. Champion.
Good boy, Richard.
His 4th mark. And the siren sounds and the Melbourne fans will be delirious because the Bears have not kicked a goal in the opening half. On a perfect night for football, with Jakovich getting 3, Lovett 2, Lovell, Viney, Matthew Febey and Hilton getting goals. Robert Walls has had to sit there for an hour and watch his team get caned so far. It's 9-5 to 3 points.
America's dual Olympic gymnastics gold medal.
9-5 to 3 points at the start of the 3rd quarter. Bears without a goal in the opening half. Kennedy goes off the ground with a bit of vigour. Yates at centre half back. Ashcroft runs him down. Yates is kicked to centre wing. Schwarz, who was pretty good in the first half. Starcevic. And does that mean Starcevic is on Schwarz? It looks like he is. Went back there in the 2nd term and staying there now. So Carey, Nash and Westgarth. Schwarz the tap. Viney. Matthew Febey, terrific first half. Dyson, who's been pretty good to full forward. Well, Jakovich in the box seat. You don't see him drop too many of those. Pios, Hilton, Lovell, Champion with him. Hilton, back towards Lovell, outside 50 though. He's going to have to use it constructively. Obst his target. Fletcher. Leslie. Slow old handball to Kennedy. Gets there eventually. Kennedy from half-back.
And Matthew Kennedy, a high kick towards half-forward. Punched away. The Demon defence is just working like real scroungers.
The whole side's very even and all contributing. You'll see the rest of them on the bench. And that's a good point for Melbourne because they can't afford to lose the odd player. They have got a very even list.
Todd Viney, hand pass, missing its mark. One of the rare occasions during the game that Melbourne haven't pinpointed a teammate.
Will win all the more, well, their probable win all the more meritorious when you consider Glenn Lovett, second in the best and fairest last year, winner of the best and fairest year before, is missing. And of course, Gary Lyon and Stephen Tingay late withdrawal. So that's probably the class of the outfit, Melbourne, not on the ground. At the moment, they're doing it on the bit.
So boundary throw in just forward of the wing for the Bears. Yates under pressure. Back goes Stephen Febey. Gets the hand pass towards Yates. And he's helped over there by Matthew Kennedy. So we'll have another boundary throw in. But Jared, the Demons finished pretty well last year with 10 wins. What do you see as the key to their improved form this year?
Well, they all give credit to their coach Barham. He, to a man, the Melbourne players, when you talk to them, praise him and consider the fact that they're playing a better brand of football, pinpointing passes, maintaining possession. I think also the fact that Greg Doyle's come in has given them a chance to release Jimmy Steins, a more mature Alan Jakovich, and I think Neitz and Schwarz have also been big contributors.
Views to Fletcher, to centre half forward McIver. Good defensive play by Lamprell. Rohde. Out wide, looking for Cow. Francis with him. Lehman, one hand. Francis had to take it off him. It was good footy by Cow. Brett Lovell. Lamprell. Under pressure, Fletcher should take a diving mark, and he does at centre wing.
I think the other key about Melbourne, Robbo, is they're so good in the middle of the ground now. About round 8 or 9 last year, they made a concerted decision that they were going to man up, and the likes of Obst and Viney and Glenn Lovett, when he's fit, can pick up players and not only take them out of the game but win many possessions.
Lovell's mark, free kick. Mark wasn't paid. Obst's kick was to centre half forward. Lovell, who kicked the first goal of the match, short and wide. I think originally it was for Jakovich. It didn't get that far. Neitz, Brett Lovett in trouble. Kicked a couple of goals in the first half. Kennedy, good tackle, has got him. And away goes the Bears as Lambert takes it from McLean.
And Lambert's kick, well, anticipating that was Primke, and he left his man back near the goal square and has taken the mark on the 50-metre line. A quick kick, finds Cowell. Had it spent before he really gathered it, then kicked it in towards centre half forward, ball at the back. Hilton, just inside 50, and Hilton misses.
The reason he hooked that was because he laid back on the kick, opened his shoulders up and dragged the ball to the left. Most players you'll find now, when they're kicking 40 metres or less, will land on their kicking foot. It's a skill that Hawthorn perfected and was one of the key weapons in their running game, the power side of the 80s.
Some of your 3 woods go like that when you try to get them a little bit too far down the fairway too, don't they?
And 3 irons and 4 irons, etc.
Consistency. Well, the Bears need a bit of consistency in their endeavours in this second half. Their performance so far been quite miserable.
But that landing on the kicking foot when you're kicking the ball 40 metres is perhaps something that's a little bit difficult to understand without vision. But for all the young players out there, it's got to be a skill perfected.
Lambert's handball towards the boundary line. So nothing much happening here for either side. Lambert with 9 and 8. Ex-best and fairest at Richmond. Obst at the back. Fletcher. Long towards the centre square. Yates in the front spot. McIver's handball. Not very good. Ashcroft under some pressure. Back to McIver. Hilton unable to get there to put any pressure on. Lappin runs into the space. A chance now for the kid. Goes for it and they've done it finally. A goal. Well, it's taken about an hour of footy with the shortened quarters. 6 minutes into the third quarter. And the Bears have finally got one.
It's only Lappin's second goal in his career, and I think you may even get an example of this landing on the kicking foot here. Just a little chip. By landing on that foot, it usually forces you to run on, as Hawthorn played in the 80s.
So the Bears get their first goal with 15 minutes left in the third quarter. At Melbourne, relentless, up towards full forward. Jakovich, by gee, that kick Scott's done pretty well. Peter Rohde, quick kick in towards full forward. Stein's little tap on Lovell. Beaten for abuses, worked hard. Starcevich gets it to Lambert. Away to McLean. McLean quickly, but, well, there's no one out there. It's all Melbourne. And Matthew Febey gets back onto his left foot and kicks it in towards centre-half forward, and a good mark. Martin Leslie was pretty close to his opponent there, David Schwarz, but there was nothing he could do. Schwarz has marked, kicked it towards centre-half forward proper, and Dyson has marked. Stein's calling for it long, and if he kicks it quickly, it could be just 2-on-2 in the goal square. Dyson's bomb, and Stein's surely. No, he's not penalised. Lovell couldn't quite control it. It's out of bounds in the left forward pocket for Melbourne. 9-6 plays 1-3. Melbourne, an opportunity once again to score a goal. Hilton close to the boundary line, gives the hand pass back. Dyson, very well done, back to Hilton. Hilton to the square. Steins couldn't take the mark off hands. It goes through for a rush behind to Melbourne. It's their third rush behind. 9-7 plays 1-3. Jakovich has kicked 3. Brett Lovett has kicked 2. And that Lone Ranger for the Bears, Nigel Lappin, just a few minutes ago.
Leslie wide, looking for Kennedy. Lambert to mop up. He's had 18 touches into the centre square. Brett Lovett from the sides, ball by his own player in the end, by Lamprell. Troy Clark able to get it out. Fletcher. Merritt trying to get into it. Chance for Lynch. Well played by Primke. Neats under pressure, kicks it behind for Brisbane.
Well, Bruce, we might as well talk about some coaching points, seeing as the game's a little bit one-sided. You saw there Hilton run at Craig Lambert, and as soon as he left the ground, he had no control over the bloke he was trying to tackle. The rugby league players would be able to tell their Brisbane cohorts that you'd never leave the ground, and perhaps Hilton should learn from them.
Febey was short to Dyson, to Viney, back to Febey. Schwarz has been good tonight. Very good kick. Vision was outstanding. Lovett in the centre square at the heart of the MCG. Dyson. Schwarz is outside. He goes inside. Good looking kick. Oh, wonderful play.
Good player, Dyson. I think he's a good third or fourth stringer around the midfield for him.
He could have gone wide there with a handball, but he decided to go direct and straight down the throat of Jakovich.
This is almost as if they were waiting for the option to appear. Just went laterally. Brett Lovett pushed the ball wide to a couple of Melbourne players without anybody within 40 metres of them.
This will take him to the top of the goal-kicking list so far in this season. He's kicked 3 tonight. Oh, he's a great kick, isn't he? 4 to Jacko. 21 for the season. And Melbourne are up to 10-7 to 1-4.
Too easy by Melbourne on this occasion. No pressure from the Bears. And Alan Jakovich appears to be a far more mature player this year. Could be the key to their performance.
(10-7) plays 1-4, and Hilton has done something well, quite clever in the finish. Gathered an awkward ball. Mark has been paid in towards full forward. Scott in front. Lovell, Scott working very hard. Starcevich gives the hand pass away. Free kick. Advantage is paid. Martin Leslie. Handball to Lehman. Lehman now kicks it down the wing. Contest there. Big punch. Excellent punch coming from Lamprell, who, if my memory serves me correct, kicked nearly the goal of the year about, 2 or 3 years ago in his debut season, and it was on this ground. Matthew Kennedy tries to get it to Lambert, tackled by Viney. Craig Lambert going nowhere.
He's worked hard though, Lambert. Viney has also been a fair player for Melbourne. But Craig doesn't get a great deal of recognition for much of his work because his handballs are so swift.
He's had 19 touches and Viney's had exactly the same. Yates round the body. Pios, who made a very bad error in the second quarter. Lambert. A familiar pose, isn't it, for Lambert to swing out wide like that. Febey's handball back to Stephen Febey. Running towards the boundary line. Champion who's up the forward line. Febey off the ground, clever. Hilton, one grab would have been the go there. Would have been able to give it to Brett Lovett. Now an opportunity for Brett, for Febey, who's run on from 60 metres. Jakovich one out. Did Schwarz get his Rohde in the end? Rohde back to Jakovich. And Jakovich kicks it, and he's got 5. Jacko, 11-7 to 1-4. 63-point margin.
And couldn't take anything away from Scott here. The fact was he was outnumbered by the other Melbourne players coming down off the half-forward line to outnumber their opponents. And Jacko, of course, just practising his basketball calls.
What does that mean?
Travelling.
Travelling. Ah, good stuff. Glad you're here to decipher, Jared. And Alan Jakovich is a one-man show, isn't he? 5 goals so far. 11-7, plays 1-4. Melbourne go marching on. Steins, tackled by Kennedy. And the umpire will bounce once again. Jimmy Steins, acting captain this evening. Ruckman go at it. Kennedy beaten for it by Steins. Pios gets his foot to it. Goes to a vacant area. Bounces clearly, and the players really couldn't quite control it. Now Lappin running through half forward. Runs a good distance.
Great kick.
Well done. Good mark taken by Merritt. Neat's a little disappointed with himself. But Roger Merritt reading it a lot better there than the youthful David Neats. Trainers rushing out to attend to one of the Melbourne players. The Melbourne side make a change. Chris Sullivan is on the ground, and I think it's Doyle coming off. So Merritt, from only about 15 metres out, pretty well straight in front, gets the Bears' second goal. Roger Merritt kicks his first for the night. Nigel Lappin has kicked the other one. But the Bears 2-4, and they trail by 57 points.
Well, you said that, Robbo, that Roger Merritt read it well. Well, I reckon this fellow's read it best. Have a look at him pull his kick. He sees it, there it is, a little chip because Merritt's the taller player, had the front spot, bang. Intelligent boy.
2-4 Brisbane, Melbourne 11-7, still 57-point margin. Merritt with his first goal, his testimonial weekend. Free kick to Kennedy out of the centre. The Bears could string a couple together or give them some life here. Merritt caught in between.
Oh, bad luck.
Stephen Febey, wide. Diving mark by the best and fairest last year in Viney. To Brett Lovett. Schwarz. Missed champion again. Brett Lovett gets a second go. Goes in short to half forward. Clever play by Lovell. Great looking kick. It was wonderful football, wasn't it, by Lovell? Turned views inside out and then kicked to the space to Jakovich. Good play, Lovell.
Yes, his excellent disposal. Read it magnificently. Knew that Jakovich had all the space in front of him, almost dragged him forward with his body language. Scott killed in a one-on-one situation.
Well, he hasn't kicked that too well, the champ. Can't believe it, he's missed it. So 5-3 to Jakovich. What's he kicked? I think he kicked 17-18 before this match tonight.
Would you be critical of him for some of the goals that he does miss and some of the goals, like he kicks them from impossible angles and misses those easy ones?
He kicked 4-9, remember, against Hawthorn. He kicked a couple of freakish goals that day. Here's Graham Yates.
And the ball forced forward for the Demons, 50 metres from their goal. Rohde, Sullivan, but they're beaten for it by Lehman. He was grabbed by the leg, the umpire paid the advantage, and a brilliant kick by Lehman. That's the sort of stuff that the Bears need a little bit more of. Starcevic kicked short, sets it up for Neats. Oh, look at the players running loose in front of the smokers stand. They love this, the Melbourne members. Matthew Febey into Schwarz, short kick, underneath at Hilton. Contest, 2 Melbourne players on the ground. One of them was Rohde, little pass into half forward, good hands, Andy Lovell. Jakovich leads. Lovell ignores. May go long. No, he goes into the left forward pocket. Getting back. Good mark. Lehman goes across the face. Scott looks a very talented young player. Matthew Kennedy is marked. He's a left half back for the Bears. He's kicked in towards centre half forward. No mark taken. Melbourne will mop up again. Cowell. Gee whiz, he's doing well back there. Little kick by Lovell. Finds Dyson. Dyson assesses it. Waited for Jakovich. Rohde. Leslie gets the hand pass. Starcevic and Pios. Well chipped in there by Hilton. Then affected the Shepherd. Gave Sullivan the chance. Look at this kick. Sullivan's kick to the front of the goals. It bounces across the face and out of bounds in the opposite forward pocket, about 15 metres around from the Melbourne goal.
Had to admire the second effort by Martin Leslie. Assisted in spoiling the ball when Jakovich appeared to be going to mark it, then brought it to ground. Bears gained possession.
Schwarz, Matthew Febey trying a cutie to Rohde out of bounds on the forward pocket.
Probably just letting a little bit of Leroying come into the game, Melbourne. It's pretty difficult when you're dominating so much. They are pinpointing their passes superbly, maintaining possession, and the Bears, when they go forward, are having trouble getting it to their target.
Good mark by Steins. Sullivan has come off the interchange. Wide, Ashcroft there, but always going to be outnumbered, and Schwarz with the height taking a good grab. Taken 7 marks tonight, Schwarz. It's a good return from centre-half forward.
Well, if you remember last year, he had the long blonde hair and the headband and perhaps lost his way.
What, with long blonde hair, you lose your way, do you?
Well, perhaps with a headband on, it might indicate your focus isn't on the ball. Come back with a short back and sides. Isn't he a better-looking player, Bruce?
Well, he's playing pretty good footy this year. That with a goal square. And Hilton with the long blonde hair is doing pretty good tonight. Pretty well, I should say. That's awful English, isn't it? And it's behind. 11-9 to 2-4. Can't believe you. You're a surfy from way back.
Some of us wish we could still have long blonde hair.
Well, the footy goes on. We'll work all that out. There's another mark. A great mark this time by Schwarz. And he plays on. Handball in towards the centre. Steins measures it beautifully. Tell you what, for a man who wasn't brought up on this game, Jimmy Steins has got a lot of skill. He finds Sullivan. Sullivan short. Oh, good mark. Well, that could be down the ground, couldn't it? Took the mark and they knocked it out of his hands and then knocked him to the ground. Well,
plenty of backmen with fairly tough reputations, and I know Terry Wheeler had one. I just think that this boy Scott is going to finish his career with one of the nastiest reputations in the business. Evidently, he's super courageous. In fact, his father won a VC. His late father won a VC in Vietnam.
Nothing much in it, though.
Well, there's nothing there, but...
well, we've got the advantage of the replay, haven't we? I suppose when you see that, the umpire was Johnny on the spot. I thought maybe it might have been an infringement, but...
Kick 5, Jakovich. Missed a very easy one a couple of minutes ago. Gives that a big hook at the end, but it's a good-looking kick. It's a goal. 6 to Jakovich. It's 12-9 to 2-4. He was 6 to 1, Jakovich, to be the leading goal scorer in this round. And he's on the way.
Good hands out in front, Alan Jakovich. And Downey went with just a touch of play acting, looking for that extra 50. Exciting combination, Melbourne, at the moment.
81-16, 12-9 to 2-4. Jakovich with 6 goals. Steins, the Brownlow medalists, and Kennedy. Steins wins it easily. Went through Lovett that time. Steins over the top of it. Brisbane grab hold and might have hurt himself for a moment there. Steins picks himself up. It's remarkable, isn't he? He's played about 156 or 7 games without a miss. He had broken ribs for a little while and just kept on going.
Fantastic player. Troy Clark forces it clear, but it only goes as far as Brett Lovett. Quickly Rohde misses the target, but free kick. An infringement, no, he's penalised Peter Rohde, has he? I can't quite work out which way this umpire's going, but it did eventually go to Rohde. Looking up there for Lovell. In comes Buse. Handball wide, Lynch.
Obst in the hands of the trainers behind play for Melbourne.
Lynch to half forward, McIver in the front spot. Febey did well, and then Lamport, and a free kick coming back to Lamport.
And Obst is grabbing his right knee. He's getting around just with a bit of a hobble at the moment.
Tough player, Andrew Obst.
He's a very, very good player.
Great football family in South Australia. Peter and Trevor Bubbles Obst. Starcevich back into the centre. Good mark, wasn't it?
Great mark. Stood his ground and just had eyes for the football.
Another 50 against Brisbane. What's that? 4 at least, I can think of tonight.
I think that one may have been against Craig Lambert. Just let a slow one go when the fellow on screen took the mark. He may have even jumped over the mark.
He had 16 and 7, Matthew Febey, before this. Goes for goal. Scott gets back as a behind. So Melbourne at 12-10 to Brisbane 2-4. Thinking if they could go to the top of the table tonight. It's doubtful. North's percentage now, the difference is so large, you doubt whether they could make it up. They're going to be 4-0.
Kick in, the high flyer. Couldn't quite take the mark. Fletcher, little kick off the ground. Yates quickly, which was wise. Sullivan rather high, put his hands on the shoulders there of Starcevich. The free kick goes to the Bears player. He gets it to Pios. Pios back near the centre. The ball bounces into the open. Lambert tackled by Obst. Kennedy made a bit of a path for Ashcroft. It wasn't much of a one. Had to get rid of it quickly. Lambert again. Lehman left it behind. The pressure applied by Brett Lovett. He's able to get himself a nice clear kick into the forward line. Sullivan, well done. 50 metres. Hand pass wide. Hilton. Where's Jakovich? Hilton goes for the goal front at the back row. Pedestrian stuff for Melbourne. Peter Rohde has been a very good player for Melbourne since crossing from Carlton. And this angle is being made nigh on impossible. Jakovich, a pat of encouragement. Rohde runs around on the mark and kicks are behind. Don't often see the player who runs around on the mark successfully put it through the goals, but well, that was his only opportunity to better the angle for himself.
2-4 the Bears, 12-11 Melbourne. Leslie wide, Scott the target, gets him. Good player, isn't he, Scott? I know Jakovich has kicked 6, but he looks every bit of footballer. Fletcher from centre wing to half forward. Lynch, who's had one you want to forget. Stephen Febey to Brett Lovett. Pinpoint accuracy to Sullivan, who's enjoyed his stay out there. Rohde, good grab that one. Very handy player, Rohde. 57 marks Melbourne, 36 the Bears. Rohde centering kick, Steins coming in late. Starcevich in the front spot. Starcevich really struggling this year with the Bears. Hasn't been able to have an impression. Will play a couple of good games in a row. Here's Lappin. their first goal and got the second one to Merritt. That's the centre half forward. Neats in the front spot. McIver back to McLean. Short kick to Merritt in the front spot. At the back, Primke. And free kick to Primke for legging. And nothing going right at all for the Bears as the Demons are 83-16, very late in the third quarter. Umpire calling it back, telling Primke he's got to go back over the mark. Played in the premiership last year at the Eagles for in South Australia. Team that Neil Baum coached for a couple of years after that long stay at Norwood.
Awkward kicking style there by Primke, but he got good distance. McLean bumped to the ground by Stephen Febey. Ball rebounds. Handball over the top for Todd Viney. Couldn't quite make the half volley. Jimmy Steins goes back. Stephen Febey's got Brett Lovett to help him out. Just wards off the tackle arrogantly. Kicks in towards the centre. Champion, well done. Takes the mark on his chest. Gets the ball away to Ashcroft. Ashcroft, his kick towards full forward. The ball at the back. Lynch could have nearly thrown it on his left foot. Went all the way around and threw it on his right foot and may have kicked a goal. He has. So right on the siren, Alistair Lynch kicks his first goal for the evening. The Bears get their third, and a little bit of excitement there for the Bears, but they trail miserably on the scoreboard, where Melbourne, 12-11, 83, lead the Bears 3-4-22.
Melbourne leading by 61 points. Grinter out there for Melbourne. Views has picked him up. 12-11 to 3-4. Kennedy and Doyle went in the centre square. The Febey brothers have been outstanding again tonight. Stephen that time. Handball to Neats. Grinter going for it. He'll get a free kick immediately. He's a big favourite, is Rodney Grinter, with the Melbourne fans. True centre wing. Neat looking kick to half forward. Schwarz went underneath it. Rohde. Centering kick, a good one. Jakovich and Steins there, punched away by the Bears. Pios out of defence. Into the centre square. Good grab by Lynch. Wide. Champion on a long lead. Lamprell to go with him. Champion now inside 50. Not a bad kick, this one. Very good kick. He was a bit stiff in the end. Little off break would have been nice there. It's a behind. So Brisbane at 3-5 to 12-11. It's interesting, Gerard. Lynch just running into a little bit of form, and you just wonder if he got a kick early, could have made a bit of a difference.
Early in the game.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think you're right, Bruce. The Bears were competitive to the first 15 minutes when both sides were scoreless. If they kept tackling a bit more like that, they'll be more competitive throughout the season.
Gee, what about the way Matthew Febey kept running to get a second chance at it? With the kick in the finish, just a little ill-directed, and Leslie takes the mark and gets it across to Lehman. Lehman in short. Ashcroft tried to make it for himself. He's got a bit of time, though, to recover his situation, and then kick the half forward. It covers all the players there, except at the back, Stephen Febey combines with Yates. Yates in near the centre, and the mark is taken by that grand man of football, Jimmy Steins. He plays on. He's kicking towards centre half forward. He's had 18 possessions, Steins. Yet to kick a goal. Buse runs away from half back. The kick very short. Fletcher goes over the top wide to Pios. Pios is at right half back. Directs play towards half forward, and the mark is taken by Champion. Champion plays on and kicks it in the Lynch direction. Punched away by Neats. Yates. Obst cleverly across to Neats. And Neats is marked at left half back.
Very good player, isn't he? Out to Rohde. Little give. Dyson runs it out of play.
Danny Craven's come back onto the ground to replace Troy Clark.
Sean White is sitting on a hot water bottle there. He's got a bit of a hamstring strain, we were told, in the first half.
Well, it wouldn't be a hot water bottle. I imagine it'd be cold water, because heat would be the worst thing for it.
I was just trying to make him feel better, Gerard.
Okay,
it's a pretty cold night. Sullivan. Starcevic. Fletcher looking for a free kick, didn't get it. Sullivan. Punch forward by Starcevic. Lehman off the ground towards Lambert. Dyson. Little toe poke by Ashcroft. Melbourne fans looking for a free kick. Dyson rode the tackle very cleverly, didn't he? It was good footy.
He was good in that contest.
And the Febeys, Robbo, have had 39 kicks between them.
And if we don't know the difference between them, the umpires couldn't possibly. So get on, folks. There's a Brownlow medal somewhere in there. And here's a chance now for Lovell. Lovell at centre-half forward. He's kicked in towards full forward. Steins couldn't quite take the mark. The contest is there. Buse grabbed just a little low. Steins' tackle wasn't bad to start with, but it got down a little too low. And the ball finishes with Francis. Francis in the right back pocket. The kick okay, finds Fletcher. Kennedy, his kick. Centre-half forward, ill-directed. Mark taken by Neitz.
Well, that just exemplified the problem the Bears have had tonight. Very poor kicking into their forward line when they have won the ball.
Well, Neitz gives it up. Lambert intercepts. Then gets the hand pass away to Francis. He's pretty quick. He hooks the kick to the front of the goals. The Melbourne defence get back. Ball punched clear. Cow. Handball a fraction short, but Stephen Febey tries to get it wide. He did. Matthew. Britke. Now Neitz. Neitz goes long. Down the wing. Contest back there. Opportunity now for Sullivan, who's pretty quick, but he's bumped off the ball by Pios. Eventually left it behind. Sullivan still a chance. Tries to get it to Rohde. Rohde, some space, and forces a kick to the 50-metre line. Oh, that could have been nearly a free kick. No. And the Bears force it over. Buse, Leslie. Steins complains, but the throw-in will take place.
Well, the free kick surprisingly favour the Brisbane Bears. It's 18-10. Not sure what that signifies, but they're the cold stats.
Schwarz, Grinter gave it up to Pios. Pios, surprisingly, he's had 19 kicks. Starcevich to centre wing. Lamprell at the back. Champion's been not too bad. He's been one of Brisbane's better players after making that mistake early. Cow to Lamprell. Steins got a good bounce to Lovell. Took too long. Run down. Couldn't feel the player behind him. Dyson middle toe poke. Jakovich looks for a free kick. Gets it ripped off him. Lehman out to Starcevich. Starcevich out wide. Francis the target. Good mark by Francis. Took off early, held it, and takes it on his chest. He's going inside. Decides to go wide. Kennedy there. Doyle. And now Stephen Febey. Wonderful vision of Obbs. Back to Stephen Febey. That makes the heart go a little faster. Schwarz, good play. Just gave Starcevich a little one. Got him out of position.
9 marks, Chris.
It's not bad, is it?
Oh, I'm glad he's got rid of that headband.
Well, the performance is even better when you consider that Gary Lyon isn't beside him. Lyon, of course, probably would take the most, well, the best defender in the opposition.
Schwarz from deep in the pocket. Good looking kick. His first goal, and Melbourne's 13. They lead by 11 goals at the MCG.
And this is great play by Stephen Febey. That was just vision. Going to the voice of Obbs, I would have imagined. Knowing that he was there before he got the ball in his hands. And a class piece of play, forward play by young Schwarz.
So back in the centre, and the ruckmen go at it once again. Doyle gets first hand to it. Ball rebounds for Lamprell. He kicks blindly out towards the wing. Only the football has Matthew Febey's eyes right on it. Buse shrugs the tackle, and then the kick falls in short. No mark taken. Champion kicks quickly to half forward. Gather was by Yates, and Yates finishes it off and finds Neitz just outside the 50-metre region. Matthew Febey calling for it on this near side and will eventually get it close to the boundary line. Drops what he should have taken, but gets past. Got past a little too easily, I would have thought. Although the player who ran around was big Matthew Clark. Then Doyle in towards the centre, and a good mark taken there by Lovell. Probably an underrated player, Andy Lovell. Just keeps getting the footy and does a good job for Melbourne. Pretty well week in, week out. Generally kicks a few goals too. He's kicked towards full forward. No mark taken. Hobbs tries to get it down for Sullivan. Lehman is there for the Bears. and the umpire will be forced to bounce. Gets in quickly.
Rob, I'm finding it difficult to reconcile the fact that in the middle of February I saw these two clubs play at the Gabba, and the Demons were basically humbled by the Bears. Now, can we simply put it down to travel, or is that just too simple a solution?
Well, it's an interesting question, but Melbourne, certainly with a terrific attitude in the day games. Here's Pios, kick number 20.
And the night game.
And nearly a mark. No, it's not paid. Bears will go forward. McIver kicks towards full forward. Punched away again by the Melbourne defence. It rebounds. Champion, a shot for goal. Not long enough. Neat's quite happy to allow it to go over for a rush behind the Brisbane. And the scoreline for the Bears, there's the Melbourne camp, looking like the cat that got the milk.
Yes, well, Greg Wells was fairly confident before the game. Chairman of selectors sitting up behind Neil Baum.
Neats wide, Doyle the target. Viney, Febey, Matthew just rode the bump, put Lovell under pressure. Free kick coming back for a throw. Fletcher to get it at about the 70 metres. Obston Lambert off the ball having a go. Lynch the target, had a couple of Melbourne players against him. Champion trying to just push it forward with the boot. And it's going to be a bounce about 45 metres from Brisbane's goal. They trail at 3-6 to 13-11. Melbourne came into the match unbeaten. Melbourne went on top in most of the stats tonight, including the hit-outs. Kennedy got that one, but gives a free kick away to Doyle. The Demons have beaten Geelong, Hawthorn and Essendon going in. Brisbane's wins have been in Brisbane against Sydney and St Kilda. Wide, Starcevich. And centre wing to Kennedy. You can run off this and go long. He does right to the square. Lynch at the back. Well played by the Demons, though. The big stretch came from Neats. He did a terrific job. And Yates mopping up as he's done mostly tonight, but gives it away. And Champion in the right place at the right time.
Well, Yates has been a quiet achiever tonight. He's picked up 16 touches. That one, of course, the worst of them, but quite an effective player, as have most of the Melbourne backline. And Misley, as was suggested earlier in the telecast. Now a chance for Richard Champion to atone for a fairly ordinary shot at goal only a minute ago.
And if only you could see Graham Yates after the ball had landed on Richard Champion's chest. Champion makes him pay by kicking the goal.
This week, the great Goalkickers, Lockett, Roach and Taylor.
Stein's up high, but beaten for it this time by Clark. The ball comes down. Craven couldn't quite get clear. Francis, a quick kick to half forward, and an excellent mark taken by Neats.
And Alistair Lynch at the moment trying to take mark of the year almost every time he goes to the ball. Lacking a bit of confidence. The way to get it is to get back in front. Put your hands up in the air.
Well, in trouble there. And eventually Stephen Febey with his 22nd kick, 13 hand passes, and it would be difficult to go past him, statistically anyway, for a best on ground performance. The ball now near the centre of the ground. Dyson, a handball. Matthew Febey, then Lamprell gets it back to Dyson. Dyson's kick towards the centre half forward position. Good knock on by Schwarz. Scott combines with Buse, and the Bears get clear. Buse's kick, brilliantly intercepted by Obst. Knocks it towards half forward. Schwarz, a hand pass. Wide, very clear for Lovell. Then Matthew Febey. A little bit too far then for Doyle. And perhaps if it had been the more athletic Jakovich, he may have got there. But the ball goes over for a boundary throw-in. Look at Matthew Febey, 30 possessions, and the brother, Stephen, 35.
Who's best?
The Febey brothers.
Leslie. Francis' handball misses Starcevich, who'll put him under some pressure. Viney held him up well. Lovell went to ground. Keeps it there. Cow, quick kick away, good kick away. Bouncing, hits the post. Not sure if it was touched on the way through. 13-12 to 4-6. 10-goal margin of the MCG. 60 points the difference. Starcevich on the lead in the back pocket. Swings a long handball out wide to Fletcher. Run down by Lovell. Melbourne's tackling has been very good, has been persistent all night. Cow deliberately pushes it out of play.
Would there be any concerns, Melbourne, who probably should have buried the Bears completely, about the fact that they've only been able to kick 13 goals, 12 in the game?
Oh, I'm not sure about that, Robbo. I guess the Bears have tried to close them up as much as possible to get some respect back into their score, and they've pinpointed various individuals to close them down. But Melbourne, I guess, really have had free flow of the ball, and perhaps you've got a point, they could have kicked some more goals.
Jakovich on hands and knees at the end as he slid into it.
But often in a game, Robbo, you'll find in the last 15 minutes that they can bang on 6 or 7 others, and maybe this win will blow out to 15 odd goals or so.
Brett Lovett coming on for Andrew Obst. That's the cheers in the background. Obst, another terrific performance. He's not a big stats man, but he does a lot of the hard work. And Jakovich is going for goal number 7. From 45 metres out. And he's not bouncing around, so that's 6 goals, 4 to Jakovich tonight. And so far this year, he's kicked 23 goals, 22. So a lot of shots for goal. Short to Buse. Buse to centre wing, Champion. Starcevich, Schwarz over the top of him, Craven. He's never really been able to get into the act tonight. Went on to Brett Lovett early in the match as a tag, a runner, and hasn't had any impact at all.
Enjoying the drink there, one of the fans that have braved the, well, dreary conditions here at the MCG this evening. Pulled off the ball was Buse. Kennedy tries to get it back to Andrew Buse. He does. And Buse is kicked down the wing, punched away by the Melbourne defender in Lamprell, and it goes over for a boundary throw-in. Well, there's another player, Andrew Lamprell, who only got his chance because of the exit of Tingay and Lyon, and he's been pretty good as well since he came off the interchange bench. Lambert ran onto that left foot, then a quick kick, and you can see just enough pressure applied. The kick fell short, should have been paid as a mark, I would have thought. Craven, his kick is not bad to the front of the goals, but it's going to be mopped up again. Yates combines with Stephen Febey, and his kick, have a guess what happened, folks? No, it's Lamprell this time. I thought it looked like his brother, but Lamprell has got it on centre wing. He's kicked towards half forward. No mark taken. Pios has got it underneath there. Tries to get it clear for Leslie. Chris Sullivan spins out of a little bit of trouble. The Bears have got the numbers down there now where Lehman tried to get clear with the hand pass, but it's all held up there by the Demons, and they'll have a bounce just inside the 50-metre area, very close to the boundary line. 13-13 plays 4-6 with 6.5 minutes left.
Doyle and Schwarz go against Starcevich. A good take by Grinter, caught in the end. High tackle, gets a free kick.
The one thing about Rodney Grinter is he's a magnificent kick of the ball, and it'd be most unusual for him not to go back and slide this one straight through the middle.
It was a revelation last year, wasn't he, when played in the forward line? Kicked quite a few goals. And he is a thumping kick, and you're a very good judge, Jared Healy, as he popped it through.
Well, there's life in the old balls, Grinter, yet. His nickname at Melbourne, when he first came to the club, he very rarely had a football out of his hand, therefore the nickname. He's won himself a fairly, well, a reputation has stuck for one of the hard-hitting men of football. But in reality, he's a most skillful player.
Well, Grinter kicks his first goal. He hasn't been on the ground all that much, spending most of it on the interchange bench. Demons force it forward once again. Lovell, kick to the front of the goal. Doyle. Leslie bashes it close to the boundary line. It goes over for a boundary throw-in in the left forward pocket, perhaps closer to left half forward for Melbourne, about 40 metres around from their goal. Starcevich doing the ruck work, gets a big fist to it, and flashes it back over another 10 or 12 metres further from the Melbourne goal. Demons 14-13, Brisbane 4-6. Ruck contest, ball rebounds for Lovett. Lovett kicks to a vacant centre-half forward region. Ball bashed back. It was intelligent play. Dyson was good. And Grinter, again, Ashcroft just a little away from the scene, but they all rushed to congratulate. I would think Dyson's kick was good, but the punch, couldn't quite pick it up, Bruce, where it came from, but this one here is a Jakovich. It was terrific stuff. And then Dyson's kick made it just look a terrific drill for the Demons. And Grinter kicks it through. So 2 goals within a minute and a half for Rodney Grinter. And Jared, you may be right, because it's now blown out to 73 points the margin, 15-13 to 4-6.
Yeah, so it's like the old Indian arm wrestle. But once you're gone, and the Bears really have they've been cracked right open by Melbourne now. Clubs all apply one-on-one tactics, so often a game can be held in check, but once the game is cracked wide open, goals will flow fairly easily.
And they are at the moment at 15-13 to 4-6. Grinter with 2 late goals in the match after spending most of it on the interchange. Rohde back to Lamprell. Gee, you'd want to be playing well in this Melbourne team at the moment to hold your place. They've got a lot of depth around. Handball by Matthew Febey, not so good to Brett Lovett. Kennedy tries to crash through. Peter Rohde, left-hand handball okay. Sullivan's handball over the top, very good to Lovell. High ball. Jakovich sets himself. Scott with him. Handball out to Clark. The big fellow over the top of it. Grinter, good skill level. Stein squeezes at the centre-half forward. And the mark taken there by Schwarz. And he's had 11 marks or 10 marks tonight.
And that's what Jared was getting at. See how quickly he got up? He did get a heavy knock. He thought maybe you stay on the ground, and then he remembered, I've got to get straight back up again. It was terrific stuff by Schwarz.
Stephen Febey with his 36 touches coming off, getting a real roar. Schwarz gives that a hook, looking for distance, leaning back, and it'll be a behind. So Melbourne at 15-14 to 4-6.
He's an interesting case study, the man on screen, Schwarz. His first year was extraordinary. Lost his way last year, and perhaps a lot of players, well, a lot of people at Melbourne thought that he was going to really struggle, but he has fought back, and I think his new look just signifies his attitude to football. It's no nonsense, let's get on with the job.
Craven, looked as if he might have been legged there, then Viney over the top of him. Lehman, who struggled, caught by Sullivan, and it'll be a ball up. Melbourne relentless here. 3 minutes remaining in the match, and they lead by 74 points. Schwarz. Clark tried to take it off him. Fletcher got it back to Starcevic, who had his kick smothered. Pios has his kick smothered. Melbourne is hungry now as they were in the opening 15-20 minutes. Grinter gets it ripped away. Starcevic runs through the centre, then awkward looking kick to centre half forward. Difficult ball for the forward line. Cow with pace, runs away. Oh, beautiful football to Brett Lovett. A goal should get out of this. He should be able to work something out here, and he does to Rohde, who will kick from 35 metres. Sullivan provides a lead. Doyle in the goal square. Jakovich at centre half forward. Rohde.
I'm not sure Rohde's going to have a shot at goal. He's looked around for an option.
He's kicked 24 goals in 144 matches going in. Played most of his footy in defence, and he can kick a goal.
Why give it away?
He's pretty happy about that. As the Demons are marching on. 16-14 to 4-6. 80-point margin at the moment.
I just had a feeling that Rohde lacked a bit of confidence. He was looking around, his eyes were bobbing and weaving, looking for an option, but if you kick them like that, well, why not go back and get a piece of the action late in the game?
How does an eye weave?
Good point. Bobbing and weaving. Well, I've seen a few late at night do it. I won't name names.
Yes, oh, well, there you go. Well, the kick goes wide towards centre wing. race on. Lappin first there, but Sullivan hungry for a touch. Lappin grabs it quickly and in towards the centre of the ground. The mark taken by Lambert. Lambert, long kick to half forward. Still that Melbourne defence lousy. Back goes Matthew Febey. Gets it to Cowell. A sweeping hand pass finds Hilton. Could be run down by McIver. No, he's not. And eventually tripped. Hilton will take the free kick just behind the wing. No, you must go back and over the man on the mark. So Jeff Hilton. High kick towards half forward. Starcevich at the back. Grinter may run him down. Oh, brilliant interception, Rohde. Pios gives away the free kick. Now the advantage is with Melbourne. Grinter goes for goal. At the back, Doyle. Jakovich trying to scrounge, but Doyle couldn't quite get it to him. And it's over for a boundary throw-in with less than a minute left in the game.
How have you judged Craig Starcevich's game, Robert?
Well, I think Starcevich is still finding his feet. I wouldn't be all that critical, but you've got to be able to put a team in its position and leave it there. And I think he's been swung around the ground a fair bit.
I think you're being very kind.
Free kick to Melbourne. Lovell out on the full. The opening goal of the match from a tight angle, but closer in at the other end. Jakovich, 6 goals so far tonight. The dying minutes, Lovell's kick. And not bad at all. He's kicked his second. Well, it's raining goals now. They're kicking it from everywhere, Rob. This is a massacre of the MCG. 17-14 to 4-6. Great kick from Lovell.
Yes, that's where the old practice wickets used to be many years ago when there was turf wickets over there, and on a night like tonight it'd be very muddy, and what a great move it was. And the MCC decided to get rid of those. They were blight on the ground.
Andy Lovell with 18 possessions and 2 goals. Kicks Melbourne's 17th goal. Craven. Lovell. Oh, good stuff by Schwarz. Matthew Febey can cap this right off. No, he can't. He misses to the right-hand side. 1 goal, 2 to Matthew Febey. 20 kicks, 13 handballs. Stephen, his brother, 23 kicks and 13 handballs. Gee, there's some impressive stats. Schwarz, 10 marks, 14 kicks and 6 handballs. Leslie goes to the far side. Outside 50 metres, the mark is taken by Brett Lovett. He'll have to move it quickly. Just seconds left. He may have the last touch of the game, Brett Lovett. Tries to get around Francis, then goes short. And Sullivan marks. And Chris Sullivan will have the last touch. The siren sounds. So only the margin to be decided with this kick after the siren by Chris Sullivan. The Bears will finish with 4 goals, 6 for their efforts. Sullivan to try and add to Melbourne's 17 goals, and it does nothing. So at the end of the game, Melbourne have won. They've kicked 17-15, 117. Brisbane have kicked 4 goals, 6-30.
5-4 to Melbourne in the final quarter. 1-2 to Brisbane. Jakovich got 6. Neitz was very good at the back. He's growing in stature. There's Jakovich, 6 goals, 4 tonight. Missed a couple he probably should have kicked. But he was very good in the forline. For Brisbane, there's not much joy there. Miserable performance. 4 goals, 6 only. Steins was good. Rohde was efficient up forward as always. Lynch struggled with just 1 goal. And here's the big dipper with Alan Jakovich.
Thanks very much, Bruce. Now, Alan, you've a kick a little bit better tonight, mate.
A little bit better, yeah. It was very dewy and wet and a bit hard, dipper, but nevertheless, the scoreboard looks good. The song's still singing and we still haven't lost, so...
Terrific. Now, listen, you've got a new dimension to marking tonight. You've taken 3 on your knees.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think it's safer on your chest. But look, if the ball ends up in your hands, that's all the better for me.
Terrific. Now, can you tell the difference between the Febey brothers as they come down?
Oh, not when they're on their way down, because they're both so explosive. And one's a left footer, one's a right footer. I'll let you work it out.
Okay. Now, listen, this time last year it was 4 losses. This time 4 wins. Terrific feeling in the club.
Yeah, great feeling. I've got to go.
Oh, you go. Back to you, Bruce.
Thanks for that, Dipper. With Alan Jakovich. And as Dipper said, what a change. 0-4 last year, Melbourne at this stage. 4-0 this year. And when you consider that Glenn Lovett, who's probably been their best player in the last 2 years, he's won the best and fairest and been runner-up, hasn't played a match this year. Gary Lyon and Stephen Tingay out tonight. You'd say arguably 3 of their best half-dozen players to come back in. The scene is very good. Jakovich summing it up. They're symbolic of what's happened to Melbourne. They're on the move, and they've got Collingwood at Waverley Park next week. What a game that'll be. The Demons at 4-0, and Barmy's going to have the biggest smile in Melbourne tonight. Schwarz with 10 marks and 20 touches, and he too was a terrific contributor. As we go into the Melbourne rooms after the game, and this is what it looks like when you've won a game by over 10 goals. They'd be celebrating. Terrific team spirit. You can feel it there at the moment, can't you?
You know, it's interesting when you try to give best on grounds. Number 20 there, Matthew Febey, had 20 kicks and 13 handballs. And his brother Stephen with 36 touches. By gee, they handled the ball a lot, didn't they, those two boys?
Let's hear if they can sing for a moment, Robbo. Oh, they know the words, don't they?
One gets the feeling they're going to have plenty of practice at singing it this season.
It's their best chance, Stuart, for a long time, I reckon.
Well, I think Neil Baum made some hard decisions last year and got rid of a couple of players that he thought wouldn't be available or wouldn't be good enough to play in a premiership side. And took some criticism in those decisions, but right now, with an undefeated 1994 season, he's been proved 100% correct.
Barmy.
Well, Barmy smiled last year when he was 4-0, so I don't know how he's going to be if he wins a premiership for Melbourne.
Doesn't show much emotion, does he? Seems to be fairly settled.
Thought Peter Rohde had a good game. He filled in for Gary Lyon, the skipper, admirably up forward, gave him that little bit of bite, and as you said during the call, Bruce, he's done that on a number of occasions last year, and I guess you'd attribute that to the change in coach of Neil Baum coming in.
So Melbourne, big winners over Brisbane, 17-15 to 4-6. Jakovich just having a stretch afterwards, and the Demon fans on top of the world. Back with more after this.
Sunday
At half-time, and in the end with Jakovich at 6, it was Melbourne 17-15 to 4-6.
The 1994 AFL Premiership League Ladder, brought to you by Foster's.
Consolidation for Melbourne right up near the top. They're in second spot with 4 wins. They have the most points, a very healthy percentage, unbeaten after 4. Brisbane, after 5 matches, are 2-3, and their percentage took a tumble tonight down to 78.3. The weekend will sort a few things out. Tomorrow at the MCG, the big match of the round, Essendon and Collingwood. Essendon been heavily backed today in Melbourne and will start favourites. North Melbourne are favourites over Geelong, despite the fact the match is at Cardinia Park. Fitzroy favoured to beat Sydney. On Sunday, the 2 home sides are hot favourites. Adelaide over Footscray. Hawthorn, who have been thrashed in their last 3, desperate for Dunstall and Langford to get back, play West Coast, who are going very, very well at the moment and are favourites for the flag. And on Monday at Waverley Park, 2 teams out of form and with problems. St Kilda injury problems, Richmond with problems off the field. It's the Saints up against Richmond. So that's it for Friday night football from the MCG, a night where Alan Jakovich kicked 6. Neil Baum was a dad today, and Melbourne won by plenty.